Okay, we're live.
We're live on stream and chat.
Let me gotta reshare your
Some
thingy.
Gay ass.
You know, I forgot to check if. You know, it's probably fine. I don't know.
Wait, what thing?
Usually I do a little check to make sure our audio at least is kind of working.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just sent the stream to you. Can you open it?
Yeah. Whoa, I got this message from this girl named Pearl, and she's live.
I don't know her.
Can you fucking believe this girl going live on Twitch in the year of our Lord 2023?
Sinful.
This is the year of the trad wife. Trad wife, happy life. No, I don't believe that. Oh, she's loading. She's buffering.
Wow, your phone sucks. Are you on my Wi-Fi?
Good. Actually, good question. I think I got on one of the last times I was here.
Don't say it on stream. Don't say it on stream.
Your Wi-Fi name gets me literally every single time. Every goddamn time.
Okay. Okay, audio's happening.
Audio's happening. Good, good.
Wait, where are my books?
Are they on the bed? Right by your backpack?
Oh, we are blurry. How do I unblur it?
Maybe there's like a smudge in front of the camera?
Did you?
I didn't smudge.
Oh my gosh, why is it so blurry? Unblur. Focus on my face.
Camera, how could you blur this woman? Look at her. How could you blur her like this?
Huh.
Does it just like need to be wiped?
I don't know. I think it's not focusing.
Oh, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, it's shifted out of focus.
Right? Because it's like, it focuses on... Ooh, that was an adventure.
Okay. It already looks better, so you just needed to take it on and off again. As they say in the Bible.
I think it's these books. God, I read so many this week.
You read so many.
Well, I did not read All-Star Superman, but I'm gonna.
I'm so excited to hear your thoughts about All-Star Superman when the time is right.
Oh, I hope we have our mod today.
Banshees, X-Force.
Lots of fun stuff.
Broken Gambit, Hallows
Eve. Yeah, it's, you know, it's not all good.
Oh.
But I read it.
Oh. There's some bad ones
And now we must talk.
We gotta talk shit about something?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, was it Oh, no! No!
It's not like shit. It's just... we'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay, yeah, no spoilers.
Look at all the notes you took.
I took 2 pages of notes. One of them is just for Dead Boy Detectives 2 and 3.
I've not read an ounce of that book. And I've never even really finished Sandman. I'm like maybe through the first book of the new releases.
I mean, that is totally okay.
Which is
like,
a lot.
It is quite a lot. You don't have to read Sandman to get Dead Boy Detectives at all. I've never even read the original Dead Boy Detectives, to be entirely honest.
I need to repost the thing that you posted.
Yay.
Right?
Yeah. That's me. But yeah, I just got into a bunch of stuff, and we'll get into this on the stream. A bunch of stuff to talk about with Dead Boy Detectives is just, like, stuff I learned, like, from my partner B, specifically about, like, Asian diaspora, or, like, Pan-Asian diaspora, and, like, being mixed race, and like a lot of like really complicated like stuff that like the book does present pretty directly in a way that if you don't have experiences with those things that you'll you'll pretty quick, like, it's not insider baseball, as I'll say later, but having that background from conversations with B has been very, very helpful, or cute. Having that that was so loud. Come hang out on the stream. Do we got anybody in the...
We got nobody here. Nobody likes us anymore. We used to be cool.
Well, I like you. So, jot that down.
I like you too.
Wow. Damn, bestie. That's crazy.
Yeah, bestie.
That's crazy,
Jeez,
bestie.
wow, we're really close friends. Some historians will say that they were really close friends.
They were friends who were girls. Girl, comma, friends, if you will. None of that gay shit, girlfriend's one word. Gotta have at least leave room for a comma, if not a space. Pretty sure that's roughly 6 inches for Jesus.
All right, let's do some intros. How's our... Are we framed okay?
Oh, there we go.
Better.
There we go.
Okay, my room's really messy today because I'm still moving and life is hard and, you know, pity me.
Messy girls are the most beautiful. Girls, if you have, take this advice from me. If you have a clean room, I don't know how to, I don't know.
The messier the room, the closer to God.
And
I think is the phrase.
The messier, yeah, cleanliness is next to godliness, but messliness is...
Yeah. Maybe I'm closer to Satan or some shit.
I mean, have you seen Satan? Like, she's hot.
Huge titties, giant girl dick.
Oh yeah, Satan is.
Did you say girl dick?
When you've fallen from heaven, like the gravity just makes you longer. Like it just pulls on your dick until it. Look, I'm no scienceologist or anything, but I'm pretty sure that if you fall all the way from heaven down into the pits of hell, your dick will get longer by the sheer terminal velocity of your fall.
I think mine just fell off.
Oh, it fell off? Is it lost? Do we gotta like go on a road trip and find it?
Honestly, if we could go out there and find it, that'd be a lot of fun.
We're gonna go find your cock on stream. We'll live stream the whole thing.
Anyways, hi. My name is Peril,
and I'm Possum,
and together we are
Possum in Peril, which no one has made jokes about.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to think Possum in Peril is a reference to some sort of deranged buggery, but it's just the name of our podcast, and y'all need to chill on the ships.
Yeah, we have such a huge dedicated fan base that has shipped us for a long time, and I would like to shout out the original shipper of us, Corinne. If
oh my god!
that time in the store when I was up on the ladder and I was about to fall.
Here we go.
I was about to fall, or not I was about to fall. I could have fallen, and Pearl was spotting me, and you said, we're talking about the center of gravity being my ass. I would like to mention that for posterity.
Wow, we're cutting that. I don't know.
Ooh, that might have been too much.
That's our boss.
Oh shit, you're right. We gotta cut that. We gotta cut that. You're so right.
I mean, if we wanted, okay, actually, we're not. You know, we should talk less shit about the actual stuff.
We have not actually. Okay, first of all, that was not talking shit. Second of all, we have not actually talked that much shit. We talked shit about Hogwarts Legacy guy, and I think that's it.
And paper cut dick.
That wasn't really talking.
That was like a whole episode.
We did spend a whole episode talking about paper cut dick, but I don't think that's talking shit. I think we were just telling truth. We were speaking truth to power.
Literally, yeah. Yeah, because our boss like listened to the I mean our boss, I don't know. Feels like a coworker, but I think is our boss.
Yeah.
Told us that she watched or listened to all the episodes
in a row.
And Yeah, told us we talk shit on customers. So, but yeah, I think we're just talking about the transphobia we experience. But I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't say anything about Redacted's Star Wars taste.
Wait a minute. Maybe you did.
I said no. I didn't say anything. I have not said anything about Redacted or Redacted's taste. I've said nothing. I have said nothing about.
I'm bleeping all of this out.
Oh yeah, no. I thought we were just cutting this or bleeping.
God, how long have we been at it now?
Good question.
Okay, we are at 10 minutes. We have no viewers and 18 followers.
Well, we have 18 followers. So
I'm thinking
cute.
we might need to start doing this on YouTube.
Yeah.
I feel like there might be more of a comics thing on YouTube people would want to watch. We might try and do that next week.
That would be tight.
Just as an experiment.
Yeah. And I've been thinking about tagging, because there's a few creators that do follow me. Like I will probably tag Pornsack Peakhead Show after this, either when we dropped the podcast or just being like, hey, there's the stream you can watch where we talk about Dead Boy Detectives. But yeah, I might start tagging creators and just being like, oh hey, you know, we
gotta interview some people.
We do.
We gotta get interviews. That'd be fun.
That would be really tight. Hopefully. Oh wait, I shouldn't say anything about your announcement, should I?
Oh, I mean the book that's coming out that I'm in.
Yeah, that you're in. That you're fucking in this book.
Did you wait? We didn't talk about that at all yesterday, did we? I was telling you about that.
Yeah.
No, Corinne was on the computer, and she went into the diamond, and it looks like we can start ordering it. Even it's gonna come out end of March or mid-April or something.
I can't wait to have a book with you in it on my shelf. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. It's really exciting. I worked really hard on it. I was basically taking my friend Jess's story and illustrating it for a reproductive justice book. So yeah, I've never had anything really printed before, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big anthology, right?
It's gonna be a big anthology with a lot of different artists, a lot of big names too.
Oh hell yeah! What kind of names? I remember you told me.
I wrote it down somewhere, but I don't even know if I'm allowed to announce it. Really?
Oh, okay.
But
we could also just keep it hush.
No one watches this thing anyway, so.
That is true. We're not gonna get punched. We're not gonna get fucked over by Diamond for talking things on the stream. Diamond can't find us. Diamond isn't real and can't hurt us. Which, thank God for.
Yeah, I had it in here for a while. Okay, Joel Jones?
Oh, Joel Jones. Yeah. Yannick Paquette, Jill Thompson,
China Clugston, Flores, Clayton Moore.
Okay, so quite a few people. Stephanie Cook, Tony
a bunch
Parker.
of names I recognize. And then Tony Parker, Stephanie Cook.
Yeah, bunch of heavy hitters in there.
It's real comic people. I am of their ranks now.
You are of their ranks. You and Jess are now in a book with fucking Yannick Paquette and Joel Jones. That's crazy.
I'm really, really, really excited. It's gonna be called God, what's it even gonna be called? It's Choices.
Yeah, it was. Wasn't there something with
that's the
Planned Parenthood?
Planned Parenthood is helping out with it. We were supposed to have a GoFundMe for it and everything. It's a lot of different people's stories around abortion and access to reproductive health and all this kinds of stuff. Stuff that I am really happy to be I don't know, working on and stuff. And I haven't really been given much information about it. I didn't know it was coming out. It's crazy to me that it was on the list yesterday.
Yeah, because you just found it out yesterday, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we just looked it up in the Diamond inventory or whatever, and there it was. And there was a cover already. I'm just
oh shit.
I had no idea this was happening. I thought this was gonna be a December thing or something, because I've heard nothing.
I'm gonna look this up next time. I'm.
I know.
Tomorrow.
I forgot to look into it. I was so tired. We did a signing at the store.
Did Daniel Warren Johnson signing? Incredibly nice dude.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him a lot.
He's a sweetheart. I hope he comes back. Well, I mean, he said he was gonna come back. He said this was definitely not the last.
I mean, that wasn't even his first time coming to the store.
Yeah, that was second, third.
You can kind of see in the stream he signed this like poster behind me for me.
Oh yeah, the Worlds of DWJ.
He gave both of us like signed posters. It was really, really nice.
It was incredibly sweet. I still have mine at work because I didn't want to carry it home with me last night, so I was saving it for when you were here, when you could give me a ride home, so I didn't have to carry it.
Well, then I guess you'll get it next week.
Exactly.
Sunday. Not that that's my work schedule or something. I would never announce my work schedule.
You would never dox yourself on stream.
Okay, what do we want to talk about today?
Well, the things I brought to talk about today were Phantom Road #1, Fuck This Place #6 / I Hate This Place, depending if you get the explicit version. Doom Patrol Brick by Brick, the first volume of Gerard Way's run, which I reread for the stream, and holy shit, I have so much to talk about. And Dead Boy Detectives 2 and 3, or what I got. What have you got?
I've got a lot of things. I feel like my descriptions are gonna be fairly quick because I mostly just read floppies. And I want to go deeper on this one at some point. This is Banshees, co-written by Jess Balboni, who used to work at the comic book store with me. And of course, I caught up on X-Men. So here's my X-Force. And then I got this variant cover for Rogue and Gambit.
Oh, it's so good. Alex Ross Timeless.
Wait, and this is Rogue's mother. So, well, kind of like adopted mother. So I'm going to talk about Rogue and Gambit #1. A lot of fun stuff in that one. And then I read Hollow's Eve. I might not even talk about it. It's really, I don't know. I don't read Spider-Man. I read the very last book of the Dark Web finale just because I like Madeline Pryor. I just wish this was a Madeline Pryor book. I don't need a Hollow's Eve book. Madeline Pryor is the Goblin Queen. Like, who's this bitch? I don't know.
Did you read it just because she has ginger hair?
Yes, in ginger solidarity, I read the redhead book. I read it because I'm really into female villains of the DC universe. I was like, oh, here's a new one. Let me check her out. And I'm just like, eh. I'm probably not going to buy the #2. We'll talk about it. Captain Britain. And I got the Peach Momoko variant cover because I always get the Peach Momoko variant cover. This is Betsy Braddock's Captain Britain #1 by Teenie Howard. Really excited to talk about it. More X-Men. This is actually from last week, but I didn't read it last week, so whatever.
Oh, I am so excited to talk to you about those pages.
Plush #4, I think, was also from last week, but I forgot to read it.
Yeah, it was last week.
So yeah, we can talk about Plush. And then yeah, we both read I Hate This Place.
I got the Fuck This Place.
Oh, you got the Fuck This Place?
I did get the Fuck This Place. I took the last one.
Jealous.
Ooh.
Oh, they're so cute. Look at them. They're gay.
And that Eat Trash Possum shirt, like, she's literally me. Like, I'm in my... You don't see it right now, but I'm in my sleeveless dyke era, and also I'm a possum in a very Therian sort of sense. Don't Google it.
Are you in peril?
I'm always in peril.
Cool. All right, so that's what we want to talk about today. I know nobody's here in the stream with us, but any suggestions? I didn't read the book that the person was suggesting us last week.
I didn't read it either.
It wasn't a book. It was like an online comic. I think it was called Sticks and Stones or something.
Sticks and Stones, Break Bones, something like that. Yeah, Stick and Poked, something of that variety. I'm gonna be honest, I don't read a lot of webcomics. I'm pretty... Other than like the stuff Erica Price has been putting out, such as Disorder, which I talked about last time on stream, which is a banger. If you haven't read Erica Price's Disorder, it's a brilliant little like...
Oh, I want to read it.
I will send you the link. She is amazing.
I think she started following me.
Yo,
because of you.
Erica's a fucking sweetie. She is like genuinely like one of the nicest people in comics. She's just like a huge sweetheart. Seems cool. Yeah, she's very, very nice. Very, very sweet and very pretty. Like, just in case she's listening to the stream, Erica, you're hella pretty, so, you know, jot that down.
I just pushed a button. I don't know what it does. Pretty cool.
Do you like pushing buttons?
Yes. Is my mic too loud? It's kind of going into the yellow.
Okay, yeah, how far is it going into the yellow?
Beep, beep, beep. Okay, anyways.
There she goes again.
Okay, well, anything else we want to talk about before we talk about the books?
I think we're ready to dive right in. I can't think of anything particularly to talk about.
Yeah, other than the comic shop is doing good. The signing was really cool. Okay, yeah, let's just talk books.
Wait, actually, no, there was one thing. I just remembered it. Basically, the Image Comics Union just today, or no, yesterday, like they basically, I think it was they ratified their first contract.
Oh.
Let me see if I want to pull up the exact detail, but it's really, really cool. Like
they bring up a contract?
Yeah, the Image Workers Union has been, hold on, let me pull it up. I retweeted it recently. Sorry. The Comic Book Workers United page said the CBWU is proud to announce that on March 1st, 2023, the workers of Image Comics voted overwhelmingly to ratify our first union contract.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, they unionized.
I'm very, very supportive of this.
Very, very happy for this. And I know that the folks over at Seven Seas are trying to unionize right now as well. They're a manga distributor who does Die Dark.
Okay.
Yes, we're getting some comic book unions coming through lately, which is really great to see. We love to see unionization.
Wow, I like this. We should be bringing in comic book news.
we definitely could be.
Ooh. So wait, it's a comic book union that's not necessarily associated with Image?
So there's a broader, my understanding is it's a broader like coalition of unions and unionization efforts where it's like we're trying to get folks to unionize. But let me double check that. Where did it go? Okay, yeah, Comic Book Workers United, we the workers of Image Comics. Okay, so I was wrong. They're actually the Image folks specifically.
That's
the
huge.
workers of Image Comics have formed a union. Yeah, so they formed a union and they've been fighting this fight for a long time. Like for like a year, I think.
Comic
or so
book
now.
creators are always really like fucked with, and always like their original characters get taken, stuff gets put in movies, they get no credit, they get no money. They get like a free ticket to the premiere of a movie that has their character in it or something. Like it's a joke.
Yeah, real shout out to that moment. Marvel, I'm gonna fuck this name up, but like the guy who created Rocket Raccoon, basically like he got really sick like a year or two ago. Like he got like terminal cancer, I think, or got like really severe cancer, and he needed treatments, and Marvel was just like, oh, we'll put up a GoFundMe.
You're kidding.
Yeah, no, they fucking did. They've just
a GoFundMe?
Something like that, yeah. Like they wouldn't even actually, these fucking billionaires wouldn't even pay for like someone who had like built their stupid fucking empire to like to be okay. Like they didn't give a shit. They were just like, yeah, we'll put up a GoFundMe.
What in the world? Like there's some weird like punk house trying to like,
yeah, like there's some
raise
weird
money for
house.
rent or something.
Yeah, well,
God, that's so annoying.
Yeah, Marvel runs its operation, like treats its creators like a punk house, which would treat, but like at least a punk house doesn't have resources. Like it makes sense when a punk house does because they don't have resources, much less like
there's probably a secret rich kid in the punk house. There always is.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, it's like if the rich kid was everybody in the punk house and they had billions of dollars.
Fuck.
And also, I would like to again remind everyone of this. Tell a dying 7-year-old to go fuck themselves when the 7-year-old wants Spider-Man on their tombstone. I feel like I need to invoke this.
I didn't know that happened.
You didn't know? No, this 7-year-old was like, hey, can I have Spider-Man on my tombstone? I want Spider-Man to be on my tombstone. And Marvel told him to go fuck himself. That it would be copyright infringement. Like, I cannot even imagine being the type of people involved in that decision that looked at a dying 7-year-old's last wish and were like, fuck them kids.
Oh, that's sad.
Like all for copyright IP. Like, how can you be so spiritually poisoned, you decrepit fucking vultures?
Ugh.
Sebeluski, I'm coming for you personally. I don't know if it's your fault, but like,
But we blame you.
But we blame you. And I mean, after the Yellowface fiasco...
Oh my God, wasn't someone asking about that?
Yeah, someone was asking...
yesterday.
Somebody was asking about CV Cebeluski or whatever his name is, like pretending to
Isn't he awful? Why is he awful again? Oh yeah.
And you know what his fake Japanese name was? It was like, I can't remember, it was like Yoshitaro or something like that, Akira.
Yeah, it was like Akira.
He literally just made his last name Akira, like a fucking like what are you doing?
Useless men.
Yeah, we could be here forever talking about disgusting ass men in the comics industry.
It's really the bulk of the comics industry.
Quite a lot of them.
That's why we're here. We're queering comic books.
Oh yeah, we're force femming them, force bundle of sticksing them. Catch that band, Twitch.
Okay, where should we start? I kind of want to hear you talk about Doom Patrol.
Oh, do we want to just jump straight into Doom Patrol?
I don't know. What do you want?
I mean, I'm down to jump straight into Doom Patrol.
I'm just fascinated. I've watched a lot of the show.
Okay, yeah, that'll be fun to reconnect it back to.
Except the latest season. I don't think I've watched the latest season.
I've watched part of it. They've integrated some of the stuff from Gerard Way's run into that season. Not anywhere close to as well as Gerard Way did, but that's just the way the news goes. You know, I think just to warm up, I think maybe I'll hit Phantom Road because I have a lot less things to say about that one.
Phantom Road.
The new Jeff Lemire book.
Right. Oh, the new Image #1.
The new Image #1. Yeah, I have a lot less to say about that one. Plus, it'll help warm me up. Not in a bad way. I don't think. I think it's one of those ones. It has a slow start. Let's put it that way. It had a slow start. But I think it's going to read really well in trade. It has a lot of elements that I really like. Gabriel H. Walta does the art, who you might recognize. He worked with Lemire on Sentient. He also did the art for Tom King's Vision series, like back in like 2016. Yeah, the art is really good. It really utilizes his kind of scratchier style towards a more like horror atmosphere, which as far as I know, he hasn't really done before. I don't think I've seen him do a horror book before. I really like the way that first page
Jeff
opens.
Lemire?
No. Jeff Lemire's done horror books before. No. Gabriel H. Walta.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, was promised to be kind of like a grindhouse horror thing. The grindhouse hasn't really come out yet for the most part, except in those final pages. There's a lot of promise to it. It is a slow start. Like, we're not really getting a whole lot here. A lot of some of the big event stuff is stuff that was shown in the previews where they find that alien. Okay, so I guess maybe we should describe what the plot is. There's a trucker on the road and he almost crashes into another, like an overturned car on the side of the highway. And he gets out to help the woman who like flew through the windshield or whatever. And there's this weird alien rock next to them on the street, and he touches it and they get transported to this other world where it's a mirror world of this highway.
That sounds cool.
But all the people there are like these distended humanoid figures who like scream and bleed black fluid like out of their eyes and bodies, and they're trapped in this other world at this point. So we haven't been given much on that, and not a ton in the way of characterization, but it is a first issue. A lot of first issues kind of like don't really super do it for me, but then there's stuff that I like end up loving in trade because once you actually get the full scope of the thing. But yeah, definitely show them the beings, because I really like Walta's
it's a real mood shift.
It's a real mood shift, and the
once
color
we get
palette,
to this other dimension,
it's very desolate. Like, it captures the desolation really well. The Walta's scratchiness in particular really jumps when you hit that desolateness. There's like nothing to the sky. It's barren. It's deeply unsettling, and it is tapping into that like fear of things that look human but are not human. It hasn't for the most part hit that grindhouse thing yet that I've been kind of waiting for.
I could see it getting there.
Getting there.
This is looking real creepy.
Yeah, check out that last couple of pages. There's like it's almost there right after they get out of the car. Yeah, they have that crowbar. I got to do what I got to do.
I love a crowbar.
Turned that page, and then you get hit with that. He's just sitting bloody in the back of the car, in the back of his trailer truck, dozens of dead bodies, like of these weird ghoul things, like soaked in blood, and he's just like, well, the fuck we do now.
Okay. It's a hook.
It's a hook. It's a very slow start, but it's a hook. And I will keep reading it. I like Jeff Lemire. And the thing about hello Liz, good to see you.
I don't know if she's still here. But hello if you're here.
Yeah, the last thing I think I'll say about it is Lemire is one of those authors who tends, and I don't mean this in a bad way at all. Like, I actually really like that he tends to be a little bit, like, he writes adult stories, but they do tend to be a little bit lighter, a little bit more sentimental. And I do like that about him. It's a quality I really like about him. However, he will occasionally write something that's just a little bit nasty. And Roughneck is a good version of this, a graphic novel he did in like 2017 that I think, if I'm recalling correctly, was like a crime book about just like this man just like spiraling deeper and deeper into his own alienation and alcoholism. And he's also a hockey player. That was a really emotionally like intense book, and not the kind of like emotional intensity you usually get from Jeff Lemire.
Which one was that?
Roughneck.
Roughneck.
Just one word. We have a copy of it in the store. It's been a long time since I've read it.
I don't know if I've read any Jeff Lemire, to be quite honest.
He's a really good writer.
Yeah, I know he's really good. I'm trying to think of even one book I've read by him.
He has a tendency. He's one of those guys that's writing so many books that some of them definitely are a bit of a dip in quality.
His name's on a lot of things.
It's on a lot of things.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even the things that dip are still pretty good, like, ultimately. But I think Phantom Road could be one of his bangers.
No, this looks really good.
Phantom Road could be one of his bangers. But if you're looking for places to start, honestly, his original comics, Essex County, like, if you get the complete Essex County, that's a really good, like, Canadian slice of life short story. It's kind of like the Canadian version of Love and Rockets almost, where it's just these kind of, like, shared short stories in this broader universe. It's really good. I like it a lot. Essex County is really good. Not Trillium, but there was another book he did that was kind of like that, where he did the art and the writing. I've read a little bit of Gideon Falls. Gideon Falls is really good. He's done some good collaborations with Dustin Nguyen with Ascender and Descender.
Little Monsters looks fun.
Little Monsters looks like a lot of fun. I do want to read his Little Monsters. Sweet Tooth. I need to actually finish reading Sweet Tooth.
I was kind of gonna just watch this show.
I heard the show wasn't
but I should read it.
You should read it. I heard the show wasn't very good.
Oh, really?
I heard, yeah.
It's like a boy and he's got like antlers on.
Yeah, his whole it's
maybe
this
he's part deer.
It's this whole universe where like there's a whole lot of people who've been genetically engineered to be like part animal. He doesn't know that at the beginning. He's just a little deer boy with his dad on this tract of land, and he's not allowed to go beyond it. But then his dad dies suddenly, and this old man shows up in a very like The Last of Us kind of way. And is just like, hey, we got to go someplace. And he's just like, well, my dad's dead and I can't live here in this cabin in this fenced off area for the rest of my fucking life. And ends up, finding out horrible things about the world. I haven't read very far in it, but yeah, Jeff Lemire is a real solid one.
All right.
So we crossed that off. Do you want to talk about any of the X-Men books?
Oh, God, I've read so many books this week.
You have read so many books.
I have a problem.
How'd you feel about Immoral?
You kept telling me Immoral was gonna be this big, crazy moment. I'm trying to figure out what you thought I was gonna be so excited about in this.
I was talking about the like when Emma Frost is choking Nathaniel.
Okay, I figured that's what it was.
That's 100% what it was.
Yeah, there's a point. Well, basically, this is the last book within the first 10 years of the Sins of Sinister event.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look in the very back, it kind of tells you. So these first 3 books, it was Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, Nightcrawlers, and Immoral X-Men. Those all happened within 10 years after the Sins of Sinister event starts. Next, we're getting 100 years, which is all going to be Nightcrawlers 2, Immoral X-Men 2, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants 2. and then it's going to go into 1,000 years. So it's giving a lot of House and Powers of X.
We love to see it. That was some of my favorite bits about House of X, Powers of X, was those massive time jumps.
So in these ones, they're planting all the seeds for whatever the hell's about to happen in 100 years from now and 1,000 years from now. And so we're seeing a lot of chimeras. We're seeing a lot of Sinisters, specifically Sinister chimeras. Like, everyone just has that damn diamond on their head. Here's Charles, and here's Emma. And I'm really, really excited for, like, where this is going. These 3 books have been a lot of fun, and, like, we get to see, like, so many fun chimeras. Like, all of these chimeras here have all kind of been mixed with Cyclops, and he's fighting himself within the Quiet Council, because he inserted himself into every character of the Quiet Council, and so now they're all just like bizarre gay queens, but like there's still Hope Summers, and there's still, you know, Emma Frost, but they're just like gayer.
Yeah, bundle of Stixified.
So that's why these are so fun. So like Charles is a big crybaby, and like they just keep ganging up Sinister even harder. Like, and there's a whole scene in here where he just makes a clone just to goss with. Like, it's like 3 pages of him gossing. He's like, oh, like, I just really needed someone to talk to, so I like made a clone of you. And like, you're naked, and also you're my bartender, and you're me.
That little limp wrist, I swear.
Like, the amount of gay that they're turning Sinister into is like, it should be illegal. I mean, I don't say this about gay people very often, but they should outlaw it. Are you hate criming? I am hate criming Sinister right now. He's too gay.
I cannot believe you would do that to Nathaniel Sinister.
Nathaniel Sussex.
He's really the what's the lead guy from Velvet Goldmine? The one who's based on David Bowie, Brian Slade. He's the Brian Slade of the X-Men.
No, I'm just kidding. I love how gay they made Sinister. I love a gay supervillain. It's my fucking favorite. I love all the Disney gays. I love Ursula. I love Scar. Just like the way that gay people are just so slinky and gay. You know, like, I know I'm not supposed to like it because it's like bad representation or something, but I love them. I love them so much. I want them all to be gay. And then basically once he's done gossing, he melts him.
Which is also pretty gay.
Which is, why is that gay?
I mean, have you seen some of the way these grinder gays treat people? Well, I mean, honestly, how like sometimes us gay people treat each other, where like we just like take what we want from each other, but then abandon each other to like horrible things. Like, I mean, it's accurate.
Damn.
I like, not to be too real about for a second, but yeah, people do be treating and using each other like shit like that.
It feels like a comment almost on the sort of like gay cis man white clone thing that we talk about sometimes, where gay white men all look exactly the same and create this sort of like clone, the Castro clone, basically. And he's like literally cloning himself and like thirsting over himself and like killing himself. It's just like it's a crazy fucking character. And just look at that cape. Just look at that cape.
Oh, I have a story to tell about that cape.
I love that cape.
So
you have a cape story about Nathaniel?
I do, actually. I do. No, there was this T girl who came upstairs one day. She wanted to check out vintage stuff. And her and I ended up getting into this bit where we were talking about this book, and because I think she had read it, and we were like, the whole concept was, yeah, because on the covers, like, Emma's now wearing her version of the Sinister cape, and it's so much more opulent than his was. Yeah, and so like we were just imagining that like Sinister is just fucking fuming that this trans woman is wearing the cape better than him, that she's just like and then so after they exile him from the Quiet Council or whatever, he's just like, fine, I'll just take me and my cape. Like, me and my cape will go elsewhere. And then Emma Frost pops up on a screen later and is just like not wearing the cape anymore, and she's just like, capes are so last year.
That's very Emma. I like that.
Be an extremely Emma move to do. And also her choking him out, like, that's trans women and the gay boys fighting.
Yeah, she tries to kill him, and he makes a deal with her that he like shows her some sort of like wild ass chimera, which is when he mixes the mutant powers together in one body, and he promises to make like super duper extra ones, which they're hinting at what's going to be happening in 100 years. And then the Quiet Council lets him live, and yeah, the next comic's going to be 100, or I guess 90 years later. And that's what happened there. X-Force, we're still fighting
Peacock, right? Isn't it Peacock?
Yeah, the Gene Engineer.
Jesus Christ.
We've been calling him the man with the peacock tattoo this whole time, but now he's the Gene Engineer. Like, ew.
You've heard.
Anyways, the cover of X-Force number 38 is so gender. Look at this gender right now. It's all of X-Force in one body.
Oh yeah, big plural mood.
Deadpool's all over this one, and he's, as usual, talking straight to the audience. The very first page is cool. They're in the Attack on Titans universe, apparently. Like, they're just fighting the giant skinless guy from the last X-Force. They're still really, really mad at Beast.
For doing war crimes in South America.
So many things. Deadpool gets swallowed up by the Titan, and then cuts his way out of the groin, I guess? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. No, just like being born again out of the Attack on Titan pussy.
They go in a bit on like his weird clone child.
Peacock Man, right?
Yeah.
I refuse to call him the Gene Engineer.
They basically tried to wrap up the storyline, and there was a giant, they actually had a name for it, but it was like a mutant that was every single one of the X-Force in one. They defeat him, they blow up the lab, and I guess they're wrapping up the storyline. I don't know. A part of me wanted something more out of this, and it looks like what I'm taking from this is that Beast is using all the data from the freaky mutant that was created by the Peacock Man, who's now dead, and using it to kill world leaders across the globe and establish his own new world order. Which is just so Beast right now.
Yeah, he's really in his Operation Condor era.
And then some.
Yeah, just wait till he hits his School of the Americas. We're gonna have a real bad time once he does his School of the Americas. Which I guess technically preceded Condor, but don't get me started talking about Operation Condor on here.
Okay, what other X-Men is worth talking about right now? I guess Rogue and Gambit? Alright, Rogue and Gambit.
How's that French gay doing?
Okay, that's my favorite thing about this book is, like, when I'm reading them, like, I give him the Cajun accent, and I give her, like, Southern drawl.
Yeah, the Louisiana drawl, right? Yeah.
So I'm, like, giving them accents the whole time. It just, like, I don't know. It's I just love these two. They're very, very cute. They will never stop drawing her like this, which makes me so happy. She's always got that, like, brown leather coat on and like her sick ass hair. She is actually like one of the strongest characters in Marvel Universe. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, she is the Hulk of the X-Men. She can do anything. She is Captain Marvel.
Yeah, she basically is the X-Men's Captain Marvel. Yeah,
I mean, that's where she gets a lot of her powers, is from she touched Captain Marvel for too long.
Wait, really? That's really the...
Yeah, because her power is she soaks in powers if she touches you.
Yeah, but when did she touch Captain Marvel?
It was when she was being raised by Mystique.
Oh, wow, okay.
She was being raised by Mystique, and Mystique was like in the 70s, like Chris Claremont shit, like...
Oh, that explains
like, she was trying to be a villain, and she was in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants with Mystique, her mama, and... Her mama forced her to, I believe, like, fight Captain Marvel.
That's so weird that Captain Marvel shows up.
I mean, what's her name? Carol Danvers?
Yeah, Carol Danvers.
So
yeah,
she
Captain
fights
Marvel.
Carol Danvers, and she is in contact with Carol Danvers for too long. Like, longer than, like, she's ever touched somebody before. And Mystique is kind of, like, pressuring her, like, don't you let go. And, Carol Danvers lives inside of her body for a long time. like
What?
is inside of her. Like she can't.
Like
and,
she's like trapped inside of her, like cognitively,
like cognitively
mentally?
trapped in her, and like they have arguments on the inside, and it like causes all this like trouble, and like Carol Danvers is just in the hospital, and she will go visit her, but like mentally she's like in her brain with her.
What the? What
She
the
has
fuck
all
was
her
happening in the
memories.
70s?
Chris Claremont was happening in the 70s. Anyways, that's a little update on Rogue, I guess. That's why Rogue is such a Hulk, is because she has all of Captain Marvel's powers. And they really just kept that power set after the animated series, I think, because that's just how we all know and love her at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And Captain Marvel just like has her own powers and is doing her own thing. So I don't know. I think they want you to forget that's why Rogue's so powerful.
So what are they up to now?
She married. Okay, so she married Gambit.
Okay.
That was like a decade or two ago at this point.
Oh, they've been together a while.
They've been married for a long time. Throughout the Krakoan era, they've been together. In this book, they are being attacked. Well, someone's going around collecting supervillains. One of them being Lady Deathstrike, which, fuck yeah, Lady Deathstrike's back. I'm so happy Lady Deathstrike's back.
I'm surprised she hasn't been back.
They just don't talk about her that much. Look at her claws. Look at those fucking claws.
Like, is she single or at least ready to mingle?
She like divorced Wolverine in Japan and like I think she gave birth to Daken, and then she's just kind of been this like villainous woman for so long. I just love her.
Yeah, villainous women are so important. Support women's rights and women's wrongs, etc., etc.
They basically went to New Orleans in order to go on vacation because like they want to reconnect on vacation. And then Rogue's other mother, Destiny, who is this fucking cool hot dyke, shows up and she's like, "Look, Rogue, I know you and me have had some problems." And there is a wonderful side eye from Rogue on that one. Look at that. Look at that side eye.
So you're saying Rogue is literally Destiny's child?
Well, the way that Rogue was written and the way that Destiny and because Destiny and Mystique have always been a couple. Only recently did they allow that to actually be in print, but like that's been Claremont's intention with those two for a long time. He wrote Rogue to be the birth daughter, where Mystique had transformed into a man, fucked Destiny, and then they gave birth to Rogue. Destiny's child. Thank you.
I'm so glad that that landed.
I really like that Liz is here.
Thank you, Liz, for your patronage.
Liz really likes the title of our podcast.
Yeah, a lot of people felt the same way when I told them what the podcast name was. They're like, "Excuse me, bitch."
Anyways, so that's kind of the backstory with, but the way that like editorial made it was that Mystique kidnapped Rogue as a baby and raised her in the shape of her actual mother. And so at one point she like went into being Mystique and she's like, "Look, bitch, I kidnapped you and like I raised you with my lesbian wife and that's just what's up." And Rogue was like, "Cool." Like she never cared. Like she was like, "Okay, I got to hang out with sick ass lesbians my whole life. I'm very okay with this." Yeah, and eventually she got shipped with Gambit, and that just kind of never got let go, and now they're married, and I actually like them. I think they're adorable. Anyways, Destiny sends them onto a wild goose hunt. She's like, "I know something about the future because my name is Destiny, and you have to go do this thing." And she needs them to convince Manifold to do something, but she won't tell them what it is.
Well, that's fucking useful.
So they go to Manifold, and Manifold's like, "I'm not fucking helping you. I'm an Avenger now. Like, I don't need you." Manifold's really cute. Manifold can bend the universe and teleport anywhere.
He can bend me anywhere.
He is from Australia. I believe he's Aboriginal.
Oh, hell yeah.
Australian.
Oh, yeah. Was he part of that storyline with, like, it wasn't the Morlocks, was it, in Australia? Like, the whole, like, society of people. Oh, God. I want to say that was, like, the 80s or 90s.
I'm not sure how old Manifold is, but I don't think he was ever associated with the Morlocks, but it's a long history. I do not know everything.
You don't know everything?
I don't know everything about the X-Men. Anyways, they agree to help Manifold do some shit. They're trying to rescue a mutant that is being kidnapped by a shady corporate entity of some sort, and it looks like he gets captured in the end, and we're just on a good classic X-Men caper now.
Mm-hmm. And what are the ingredients of a good classic X-Men caper?
Well, first of all, we are protecting a people who fear and hate us. That is always part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think lesbians.
Yeah, lesbians seem to factor pretty big.
Like gay, I believe, is just needs to be a classic ingredient of an X-Men caper. And even though, I mean, Rogue, in terms of being gay, Rogue and Gambit are as gay as straight people can possibly get, I think.
They could also be T for T.
If they are T for T, she's a hot femme top, and he is a dorky, bratty, trans boy bottom. Which is representation.
Me and who? Me and who? Because I don't have a dorky trans boy bottom. Like that's there is a wonderful dorky trans boy in my life. I will say no more. But I realized I put myself in a corner there. Anyway, Betsy Braddock. Let's talk about
Betsy Braddock, another classic X-Men caper. This one's extra gay. So this one makes a lot of sense if you've been reading Knights of X, if you've been reading Excalibur, if you've been reading, I think X of Swords is a pretty required reading for this one because they're going into Otherworld, which is laid out heavily in X of Swords.
Okay, that's good to know.
This is post, and I didn't read X of Knights, but I guess in X of Knights they murder Merlin the wizard.
Is Merlin the Wizard a mutant in the X-Men, or is he just like Merlin the Wizard?
He owns a part of Otherworld, which is a whole different thing.
Is Otherworld different than Weird Worlds?
Yes.
Okay, so Weird World and Otherworld, which is different than Murder World.
And different from Mojo World.
Different from Mojo World.
There's so many different worlds. The thing with Betsy Braddock is she's very multiversal. So she calls upon the Captain Britons of other universes, and they'll always be like something that isn't human, usually. She'll be like, I need help from the... And they can like hear each other across dimensions. And like, she'll call for help, and it'll be like a goose.
Yo.
Because that goose is the Captain Britain of that world.
So was one of those a dinosaur?
So yeah, in this one, a dinosaur calls out for help from the other Captain Britons, and she has to go help. And the thing about this one is that she is now officially dating...
Rachel Summers, right?
Rachel Summers, who goes by, I believe, Ascani, which is a storyline I've never read, but she goes by Ascani at some point in the past, and they bring it back for this book. I'm not sure exactly what that's about. I gotta look it up.
Same. I have no idea.
So yeah, they're rescuing. They are hit. This is actually kind of like a thick woman. This has got to be like, I think it's like a 40-page comic.
Ooh, okay. So she's a thick single issue or first issue.
Here you can see they're calling upon all the Captain Britons to come and help.
Ooh, beautiful.
It's looking like the main protagonist of this one is going to be Morgan Le Fay right here. If you were reading Excalibur in the Dawn of X, a little post House and Powers of X, then you know that Morgan Le Fay was captured by her brother and vivisected on. Alongside Apocalypse, and was not treated well. Her magic was stolen from her, and like any amount of wrath that she has against the Braddocks is so valid, bestie.
Wait, so the Braddocks vivisected her and Apocalypse?
It was, I believe, one of her brothers, an Omega level mutant, is it Jamie Maddox? Or Brian Braddocks?
I think it's Jamie.
Because there are two brothers. One of them's an Omega level reality warper, and he took control of a section of Otherworld, and Apocalypse went there after kidnapping Morgan Le Fay, and Brian allowed Apocalypse to vivisect her and experiment her on her in really fucked up ways. So I think we're finally dealing with like that. So we're coming back around to Morgan Le Fay. But anyways, she's a dyke. She's very officially a dyke. Apparently, people have been shipping them for like decades, and Teenie Howard is finally like allowing that to like be the case. And I think she's been wanting to do this as a writer for a long time. So,
what's her shirt say?
Her shirt says Summers Family Reunion.
Oh, okay, cute. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
you. She's a Summers child, a sweet summer child.
Literally a sweet summer child.
Okay, I think that is about as much X-Men as we need to talk about on the podcast today.
That's so valid. Well, thank you for sharing
and
that
that's
with
the
me.
update on X-Men, everybody.
Do we want to jump into Fuck This Place, or I could talk about Dead Boy Detectives?
Let's learn about Dead Boy.
Let's learn about Dead Boy. Okay, we have quite a bit to cover here. I actually read issues 2 and 3 because I forgot to read 2 last month, so I ended up reading 2 and 3 because 3 just came out this week. There is a ton to talk about with this book. The writer on this book, Pornsak Piketshot, wrote The Good Asian and Infidel were the 2 books he did. Really, really fucking stellar books. The Good Asian was one of the best books of last year. Infidel was one of the best books of, I think, 2018.
Oh yeah, you showed me Infidel. That was amazing.
It was amazing.
I really got to pick that one up.
You do. It's incredible. And the Dead Boy Detectives, just for anybody who's not in the know, are these characters who, one of whom is like an early 1900s. He's the ghost of like a little he's a little British ghost boy from like 1914, and the other one is a little British ghost boy from 1990. They've been palling around for a long time. And so this series specifically, they go to the United States, to LA specifically, and meet a bunch of Thai ghosts. And the thing partially about this is that the 2 British kids only have familiarity with ghosts conceptually as like the standard traditional Western concept of what a ghost is. And in
really?
And in Thai belief, there's a lot of different kinds of ghost. And they meet these 3 kids, Jai, Tanya, and Melvin. Melvin died in the 70s, Tanya died in the 90s, and Jai died in the present. All 3 of them are different types of ghost. I'm forgetting which ones they specifically are. I did look it up, but I think I forgot to write down which ones they specifically are.
Oh, the art looks really cool.
It's really cool. Yeah, Jeff Stokely has done a bunch of stuff with with C. Spurrier. He was one of C. Spurrier's like OG big collaborators. And he's doing some really good work on this book. The ghost you just showed is a Kumanthong. And what a Kumanthong is fucking terrifying. What a Kumanthong is it's basically like an aborted or dead fetus taken from the mother and then ritually burned in a graveyard and then painted with resin and then gold leaf. And if you do that to the fetus, like, you can basically control it.
Whoa.
And use it as like it's part of like Thai black magic practices, which they go into in this book. And so all of those weird little baby things are, they're the Kumanthongs. And they, at least in this book, I don't know enough about them mythologically speaking to say, but like they go towards joy. They're usually not supposed to be that powerful either. And the page you're looking at, they're on the Road of Ghosts, which is a road made out of the faces of ghosts. Oh, it's fucking sick.
Oh, they're like stepping on the faces?
They're stepping on the faces of ghosts. Yeah, this is how it's basically a bridge to get places faster, because the 2 Dead Boy Detectives with their specific like British ghostly thing, they can kind of just teleport places, but the Thai ghosts can't, because they operate on different ghost rules. And this is what the British boys are learning for the first time. They're really just meeting people of color for the first time and learning that like their white experience is not universal.
I see.
And so they're like, well, fuck. Okay, well, since you can't teleport, which they call spooshing or squooshing, and squooshing, they call it squooshing. They're all kids and they're all written very well. Like, Pornsak Piketshot really knows how to write kids. There was a specific line, and I wished that I had written it down, but one of the ghost boys is talking about one of the other ghost boys, the British ones. Edwin's aces, but sometimes I forget he's younger than me by a whole year. And like really stresses that year as if that's like a million years.
When you're a kid, like that's a long ass time.
That's a long ass time.
It's a huge age gap.
It's a huge age gap.
That's like 5th grade versus 4th grade.
Yeah, and like a million things happen between 4th and 5th grade. Like so the book is like the ghost characters are written really well. It's really fun. A bit before I go into some of the more like stuff about diaspora, which is in this book, before I get into that, I find something very interesting is at the beginning, there's a disclaimer about slurs in the third issue, which I found very interesting because Pornsak Pikachu did not have a slur warning in front of The Good Asian, which has the CH slur a lot because it takes place in 1936 San Francisco, and it's a whole like Japanese, Korean, and Chinese like
like a noir,
yeah, set in the period. But did have one here, which I thought was interesting, given that they're both mature readers' books. But in thinking about that, the only reason I bring that point up, is that it crystallizes something to me that I hadn't quite processed, which is this is a YA book. Dead Boy Detectives is a YA book.
Okay.
And I didn't really process that because it's under the mature readers banner and does have like some pretty violent bits here and there and has some strong language. But here's the thing, like it's the kind of YA I actually like,
YA
which
means
is
young adult.
Which thank you for that. Thank you for explaining for the viewers at home what young adults are.
I didn't know that until recently, so
you're so cute.
I didn't. People would be like, YA. Anyway, sorry.
No,
I interrupted you.
No, don't apologize. You're precious. Absolutely precious. But the reason I bring that up is because it is a YA book, and the kind of YA book that I really like, which is books that are not talking down to their readers. There's this kind of presumption, particularly if you're a writer on book Twitter, that people kind of crow for YA to be this specific thing. Like they want this very cozy core kind of YA, which is like fine. And I appreciate like comfort YA and coziness. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was a big fan of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, but this book, along with like the works of Andrew Joseph White, who's a trans boy novelist who's doing like horror YA that is ostensibly for young adults and kids, but is also really fuck nasty and brutal. Like one of them is about an angel boy escaping a cult. I have that book at home. It's like The Hell We Carried With Us or something like that. But yeah, the reason I bring that up is it is a YA book, but it's a YA book that absolutely respects its audience to be able to contend with really difficult subject matter, which this book gets into a lot of stuff, which I will say in just a second. The only thing I'll say before that is that the blonde kid, Edwin, I think he's queer, because there's this whole bit on this page right here. No, but because they're talking at the other one whose name I am forgetting, and I feel really goofy about that. But he's basically like, Edwin, have you really never had feelings for any girl you've ever met? Not even once? And then the blonde kid just kind of changes the subject and gets uncomfortable. And he later starts talking about, kind of the similar thing. I think he's queer. Yeah. I think he's bi.
Yeah, I don't know why you would include that if that wasn't like someone dealing with gender and or sexuality or something.
And the thing that's kind of important is the blonde kid is the older one. Or sorry, is the one who died. I mean, he is the older one, but he's also the one who died in the 1914s.
Oh.
So he's not the one who died in the 90s. The kid with the black hair is the one who died in the 90s. He's the one who died in the early 1900s. So it might never have even occurred to him that this was a possibility that he could even do. Like, even being queer is something he may never have, like, actually considered before, or even be able to, like, fully process.
Huh.
I didn't think about that last part, but before we start talking about it on stream, but yeah, like he may not have the ability, or may not have the cultural conception, because that was a huge thing you saw, particularly with I gotta keep this brief or I'm gonna go on a long tangent, but a lot of the people who were like on the ground colonizers, so to speak, like a lot of the people in the British Empire who were doing like, on the ground colonizing, a lot of those adventurer types, a lot of them were queer. And a lot of why they ended up doing that kind of work was both a class thing. They usually came from middle to upper class families, and had the money and resources to go adventure in Africa, TM or whatever. But the other thing was that life, being a colonizer and traveling around to different places afforded you some degree of privacy. So if you had the consciousness to act on those feelings, you could theoretically like be more queer than you might otherwise be able to at home. I shouldn't even say queer. I should say gay, because being a colonizer ain't fucking queer. But like, but yeah, you could indulge that. And then also a lot of these dudes, there are journals and stuff of these incredibly intense like relationships between these men, where they would just have like these incredibly intense emotional attachments to other men, either in their military units or at their boarding schools or other things. It's a really common thing. It's a weirdly common thing that a lot of the dudes doing the on the ground colonizing were gay in some fashion, or may have been gay in some fashion. It's a weird kind of topic.
Wait, is that what you think they're touching on?
Not necessarily. That was more of a tangent.
Okay.
I don't think they're going into the colonization shit. That kid was too young to be colonized, and he was also to be doing colonization shit. Also, he was killed at his if I remember the canon right, because I haven't read the original series, he gets killed by like bullies at his school, at his boarding school.
Really?
Yeah. Both of those kids have been killed by bullies. Which is something that comes up later with the kid who died in the 70s, Melvin, the Thai ghost kid. Because they have this little bit where they're like reconnecting after an argument, and Melvin's like, yeah, let me basically tell you how I died, because Edwin's like, oh, I never realized, how did you actually die? And Melvin goes into this story where he basically talks about this one Thai kid. And I'm going to get into a lot of detail here because it's going to segue into our conversation a little bit later. This Thai kid had a white mom and lived in Thailand. And so he had a bit of a career as like a child model, because he had kind of like Caucasian coded features, and that was considered exotic in Thailand. But when he moved to the United States, his thick accent and like the exoticism of like quote unquote Caucasian features and his heavy accent like outed him to white bullies, and so they terrorized him. And so in response, this guy, now a teenager, this Thai kid, decided to start bullying his Japanese neighbor, who was a few years younger than him, and would like call him slurs, which is what the slur disclaimer is about in the third issue, is he would call him slurs and would bully him. And neither of these kids is Melvin. Melvin is just like talking about this kid because they end up stumbling into this teenager later. But so it's a whole thing. But later, yeah, Melvin is getting into that story, and he's also getting into the story of how what basically happened is he was born in the United States. His parents moved in the 70s and were working at a Chinese restaurant, and this was at a point in which Thai people in the United States were not under like white consciousness, not like, like us white people do that whole like we can't tell Asian people apart bullshit. Like, and that was basically, yeah, like a lot of Thai people were like, everyone just considers us Chinese because they can't tell us apart from Chinese people. They just assume we're Chinese. So they start working in this Chinese restaurant, and they move into this neighborhood. And in the neighborhood that they move into, a bunch of the white kids' parents work at a tech manufacturer. Like they work in tech manufacturing. And in the 70s, like was when Japan was becoming a tech giant. And a lot of the reason that there's so much like weird exoticized Asian imagery and in cyberpunk, in the form like the implicit yellow peril of cyberpunk, is that when that genre was being formed, Japan was becoming a bigger tech power and becoming a bigger economic power, and white Americans were fucking terrified of the idea of a world like where the Japanese were a economic and political superpower. And so that's why you see all of that shit in fucking in cyberpunk media, especially like foundational cyberpunk media like Neuromancer and Blade Runner, is because of that fear. And so this is taking what's happening to Melvin when he moves in is in the 70s when all this is happening. And so the neighbors think he's Japanese because they can't because they refuse to tell like Asian people apart. And so they think his family is Japanese, and so they start relentlessly and like bullying him and terrorizing him because they think he's Japanese. And they think his parents are stealing their parents' jobs. And he gets killed by racist bullies in the 70s.
Which character is that?
This kid.
This kid right here.
Yeah, this kid, Melvin. He's being a dick in this panel, and that's part of why there's a whole fight. He's a dick, but in a very kid way, where he's being a jerk, but then like he's just not dealing with his feelings very well. But yeah, he goes into that story about being killed by like racist bullies.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, this book fucking gets into some things. Like this book gets a lot into like diaspora. It gets into like one of the characters, Tanya, she's talking about how in the 90s her parents wanted her to connect with other Pan-Asian folks that they knew. Like I think she talks about like there were her parents had Japanese friends, her parents had some Chinese friends, her parents had some Taiwanese friends, and at the time she never really wanted to like hang out with, because she was a teenager. She didn't get why her parents wanted her to hang out with these people. And also she was like, she's talking to an adult later in the past in this flashback, and she's like, why would my parents even want me to hang out with these people? They didn't even seem to like these people that they kept trying to get me to hang out with. And the guy she's talking to, Dom, says like, you know, they came over in a period in which like they couldn't tell any of us apart. And so the reason they kept hanging out with these people they didn't even like that much, was because like when you have people that can recognize you and see you for who you are, you'll hold on to relationships that you may not even enjoy, because who else are you going to fucking talk to? Who else is going to see you? Which is very resonant, I think, to anybody. Like, yeah, this, so they get into a lot of that. There's a bit where she talks about feeling ashamed because she never learned much in Thai other than like small words. And so she feels really bad after she like didn't want to hang out with her parents. She didn't want to learn Thai. They were going to move back to Thailand before, like right before they died, and she died as well. They didn't get a chance to. She didn't want to move back. She didn't view herself as Thai in any way. She felt very connected to America, and she also was like, why would I want to learn Thai? But now she feels really guilty because she's like unable to translate some of these notebooks that were written in Thai because she doesn't know the big words. And she feels really guilty about that. And there's a lot of stuff about like intergenerational like language going on there too. Like I'm gonna just shout out my partner B Nanase Barbara. A lot of where I'm coming from with these discussions is things that they and I have talked about over the years, and like because they their parents, their mom is from Okinawa and their dad was a soldier stationed in Okinawa for a little bit of time. And they lived in Japan for a couple of years, or for some years of their life, and then moved to Utah. And that's the rest I'll say about that. But like, so they've shared a lot of their experiences with me, and like we've talked quite a bit about that, especially like the very complicated intersections of being an Okinawan person, and also like how Japan views Okinawan people. Like Japan like has a whole ongoing debate over decades if like Okinawans are Japanese or not, and that is really wrapped up in a lot of like Japanese imperialism shit. It's a really complicated, really thorny subject, especially with like the violences done to the Okinawan people by both the Japanese Empire and the American Empire before and after World War II, before, during, and after World War II. So there's quite a bit going on in here. Like intra-Asian bigotry as well is like the exoticism and rewarding of perceived whiteness in like Asian countries, like both in the country and then also like intracommunally. There's a whole lot of stuff about because like all of these kids are basically like come from the diaspora. Like all of the Thai ghost kids, Melvin, Jai, and Tanya, all come from the diaspora. Melvin was the only one who was born in the United States. All of them immigrated when they were kids and have some memory. Well, actually, no, Tanya doesn't. Tanya has no memory of Thailand. Jai does. And that also comes up as like who has memory of living in the country where their parents were from, who doesn't, like what kind of like power dynamics that can create, like, and also like emotional stakes that can create like intracommunally. Like this book fucking gets into some things.
I'm so sold. I'm so getting into this with you.
I'm so glad. It's really good. It's really, really good. Like Pornsack Pikachu has been doing amazing work since Infidel, and like, and The Good Asian hits a lot of these beats too.
Who's doing these covers? Because holy fuck, the covers are so cool every time.
That cover is I feel like I'm gonna fuck up this name. Nimit Malavia.
Okay.
And then the variant covers are all done by Alex Ekman Lawn.
They're so cool.
They're so cool. They're so stunning. And a thing that I think is really, really cool, this comes up in The Good Asian too, is that for The Good Asian, it was every cover, but most covers. Actually, yeah, sorry. The Good Asian and Dead Boy Detectives, almost all of the covers are done by Asian comic book creators. Like almost all of them.
Wow.
The only ones that weren't were Dave Johnson's covers for The Good Asian. Like the cover A's were all Dave Johnson, but you got people like I'm forgetting his name, but the guy who's doing Once Upon a Time at the End of the World did some variant covers. He also did the art for The Good Asian. Sana Takeda did a cover for The Good Asian. I think it was issue 1. A bunch of really, really good other Asian creators did covers for the book. Cliff Chiang.
Oh, cool.
Did some, like, they're really good stuff. Yeah, Good Asian's also incredibly good. And covers a lot of that same kind of diaspora and mixed race politics, like intra-community politics. The Good Asian also gets into a lot of stuff just like about how you can try to integrate yourself into the system, but that is just going to tear you apart. It's a really good fucking book, and I don't want to get too off track talking about that one, but yeah, Dead Boy Detectives, really good stuff. I'm so happy to see him, like Pornsack Pikachu, continue to do just like amazing work. And I'll just briefly shout out the art of Jeff Stokely. Jeff Stokely's been doing stuff since like Six Gun Gorilla and The Spire with C. Spurrier.
What's Jeff Stokely doing?
He's the
interiors?
He's the interiors, yeah. He has a really good like cartooniness to his style.
I love the style.
The style's really good.
I think it just grabs you. It does feel like if I was a YA, I would. Yeah, like I could see myself buying this for my nephew. It's definitely a heavier concept and material, but the art is just, it feels very fun and kind of accessible, even though we're working with like pretty heavy topics here.
Yeah, it covers a lot of really heavy and really complex topics, but it also does so in a way that is very blunt while like also at the same time trusting you to be able to make these connections. Like it's not, as I was saying earlier, like it's not insider baseball, so to speak. Like it's not something that like, and again, the reason I know these things are from people who have these experiences, not obviously me, but like you don't need to have heard those conversations or have directly experienced them to understand what's going on in here, because they do explain it pretty directly and pretty well. But it also does trust you. It trusts its readers to be able to handle those complex topics. And I really do think it is a YA book. And I think it's a book that should be taught to young adults.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would even argue you could probably teach this to upper level middle school. Like 10, 11. Like it does have some bloody scenes. It's got a couple of slurs in there and some like F words and such. But nothing people can't handle. Like, and I think when we talk about, like, I'm also gonna have to pin this one because I'm gonna have a whole rant about this if I don't. But like, there's this notion of YA that has to coddle the reader, and that comes from this very particular kind of like Puritanism, which just like runs through American culture. But like, fuck that. Like we all, like all of us here have read shit that we absolutely should not have read that was way above us as kids. And you know what? We turned out fucking fine.
Yeah.
Like we turned out fucking fine. So like, why does it matter if these books who are like speaking directly to like middle schoolers or high schoolers and like speaking very directly to them and not fucking like
that's I mean, culturally, people have been telling bizarre horror stories to children for all of I think human culture. I mean, that's what those grim fairy tales are like.
Exactly.
Those ones are brutal.
Those ones are brutal.
They're bloody and scary, and they're lessons.
Yeah, and some of those are even more brutal than this book is.
Way more.
Way more brutal. Like, this book has some shit in it, don't get me wrong, but, like, nothing that, like, anybody hearing these ghost stories as a child, like, I'm sure, like, a lot of Thai kids, like, have just heard these ghost stories about, like, yeah, burning the fetus or whatever and painting it in resin, wrapping it in gold leaf. That's just a ghost story. Like, kids know these things.
Yeah. Kids like ghost stories.
Kids like ghost stories.
We should move on.
We should move on.
If we want to talk about I Hate This Place and or Doom Patrol.
Cool. Do we want to do I Hate This Place and then Doom Patrol?
We are at an hour 20.
Okay. Well, yeah, we have a bunch of stuff we pissed about for like 20 minutes in the beginning.
I think we went really hard on Dead Boy Detective, and I think it was very necessary. Thank you so much for like doing a deep dive.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they're only 3 books in.
There are only 3 books in. It's going to be a 6-issue mini.
6 issue. Yeah, I mean, I suggest it.
highly suggest it.
I haven't read it necessarily, but I feel like I have now.
Aww. And just real brief shout out again to Being Honest Barbara. Thank you so much for our conversations. They and I talked earlier. I was like, hey, do you feel comfortable if I like shout you out in this podcast? And they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. Like, thank you.
Yay! Wow.
Yeah,
that's really exciting.
Yeah, they were happy that I thought of them, is what they said. So yeah, we're like, yeah, no, like thank you to them for like all of our conversations. Yeah, and yeah, for all I learned from you. So thank you.
Yes, thank you as well. I'm learning now too.
Hell yeah. Do we want to fuck this place?
Oh, you got that weird comic in here?
I do, yeah. I slipped it into my backpack. We should briefly mention that.
I forgot about this.
We should briefly mention that.
Yeah, someone we work with, Mikey, bring this down from the vintage section and was like, you have to check this out. There's a cool trans story in here.
And we were all like, wait, where is this going? A little bit like.
I was like, okay, Mikey, what do you mean?
But
it's actually really cool.
But it's so based.
It's very based. We should definitely sit down and like read this to our audience at some point. Mm-hmm. I really want to do that. It seems to be like the old switcheroo, but it's like from the 50s.
Yeah. Do we want to tell them what the plot is, or do we just want to keep it a secret?
I think we need to move on. I just got excited that you had it.
Oh, okay. Cool. We will jump on that one next time. Do we want to hate this place?
Let's talk about I Hate This Place, because I think this is like the only thing that we both read this week.
Yeah, this is the only thing we've shared as readers this week.
And what do you know? It's about a couple of lesbians.
Mm-hmm. I got the quote-unquote explicit cover.
I know, yours says fuck this place. Mine says I hate this place. I think they wanted to call it fuck this place.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, the editors or the comic book stores were like, no, it's too explicit. So now fuck this place only gets a variant.
Image are giant baby bitches, and I will throw this out. B.R. Yeager is releasing a book called Burn You the Fuck Alive through Apocalypse Press, and it's unedited.
I did not know that.
Oh, I'll tell you about B.R. Yeager later. We will get way off track, but I love that man's work.
Yeah, I was reading I Hate This Place as it was coming out. I think I dropped off at like the 3rd book. I kind of thought it was going to be a complete story because the trade just came out, I think, last week.
No, trade came out.
Oh, no, trade came out. This came out this week.
Yeah, trade came out a few months ago.
Yeah, I Hate This Place number 6 came out this week. Trade came out for books 1 through 5. Yeah, like a month or two ago. I forget.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. So just to give you a brief recap, Gabby and Trudy, these 2 dykes, they inherit their uncle's farm. They show up there. They find out that them woods are fucking haunted.
So unbelievably haunted. Like, they can't be outside at night or they will die.
There's ghosts that haunt the property, and maybe a UFO, and some spiders which scream in human voices asking you to help them.
And if they bite you, you're fucking dead.
You swell up and explode. So it's a lot of like goofy sci horror, which is going to become important later. The first volume has like some pretty bloody violence and some intense stuff here and there, but for the most part,
it's kind of silly.
It's kind of silly. It's goofy sci horror.
It's a lot of tropes, a lot of fun tropes, like haunted house, like aliens, like creepy. What do you call the man who has the
the antlered one?
What kind of horror is that? It's like eldritch horror.
Yeah, that's like folk horror shit.
Yeah, it's
like
all these kind of genres put together.
Yeah,
and it's
just got
fun.
like smashed into one place, and they're kind of just trapped here now. So they're like, well, we were gonna lesbian farmstead here anyway, so I guess we at least have to stay here until we can sell the property, but we feel kind of responsible now.
They find tapes in the basement that are like describing all the horrors that happen at this place and how to protect themselves and how they can never run away. And they decide that they have to stay in this house and they have to fight. And that's kind of what the story's about. And
for brief context, Trudy, who's the one not in the possum shirt, she's wrong finger. She is strapped the fuck up. Like her dad is a survivalist, which will become relevant later. She comes from an intense survivalist background, so she knows her way around a fucking gun. She knows her way around a gun. She knows her way around weapons. She's like borderline a prepper. Borderline.
Yeah, she's always got a gun. And like, what's the other one's name?
Gabby is
Gabby's a little more squeamish around guns, and then Trudy is kind of a gun nut. And she's like every panel, she has like a shotgun. She's always shooting shit in the head. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. She's almost like a video game character. Like, she's so powerful.
Yeah, she's a stud. She's a real stud.
Oh my god, she's so hot.
She's so fucking hot. She's so fucking hot. It's outrageous. I'm so into her. Like, if she was real, I would be the biggest simp.
I would swipe right.
And she would never be into my ass. I am too goofy for her by a country mile. But like, and I know that about myself. But like, she is so outrageously hot.
Here's a flashback of her from book 6 where she's making out with a girl.
A girl that's not her wife, a different girl.
A different girl.
Did you?
So she fucks basically.
Oh, I think she fucks on screen in the trade, if I recall correctly. But she definitely fucks.
She almost feels like the main character at this point.
Yeah, she really is like the main. There's a whole thing in the trade where she feels really guilty because she's kind of the butch of the relationship. Like, they're both pretty butchy, but she's like really the butch of the relationship, and she feels really guilty when she's not prepared for everything.
Yeah, they get into like this insecurity that she experiences not being able to protect her wife. In the face of deep fucked up horror.
Yeah, like how are you supposed to anticipate help spiders? How are you supposed to anticipate like a horned man out in the woods, like a deep pit, a bottomless pit in the middle of nowhere? Like, you can't really prepare for that, but she feels guilty because she's supposed to have prepared for everything.
She feels like such a real character.
She's incredibly real. I loved
really like her a lot.
I loved your meme, the Gordon Ramsay. Finally, some lesbian representation with believable lesbian characters with believable motivations.
I did make a meme about her.
You were so correct for that one.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter.
You should. She's great.
So wait, who does the art?
Artyom Topolin.
Topolin. Art's really, really good. I'm guessing Lee
Ridge is the artist, or is the colorist.
The colors. The colors and the art are so fun in this book.
They are electric together.
Such page turners.
The other big Artyom in comics retweeted this Artyom Topolin and was like, "Oh, the art on this makes me want to be alive again."
The art's really, really good. I highly suggest it. It is. I mean, I kind of picked it up because it was about lesbians, but then I was like, "Oh wait, but this is actually really, really good." What else is Kyle Stark doing?
He did Sex Castle. He did Bad Rock Candy Mountain, or Hard Rock Candy Mountain, which is really good.
Right.
He's doing Where Monsters Lie right now.
Oh, Where Monsters Lie,
which also came out this week. I'm gonna throw this out there.
Did we not pick it up?
No, we didn't.
Yeah, I wasn't that interested.
Because here's the thing about Kyle Starks. He's like, they can't all be winners. Kyle Starks makes banger after banger. They cannot all be winners.
This is the winner.
And this is the winner. This is actually, I think, of the things I've read of Kyle Starks, I think this is my favorite, followed by Big Rock Candy Mountain. Big Rock Candy Mountain really fucks.
Ooh, I want to check it out.
You should. We have, I think, both volumes in the store.
Ooh.
It's really fucking funny, and it's when Kyle Starks illustrates himself.
Okay. We should, unless there's anything else you want to say, we should start talking about Doom Patrol.
Yeah, real briefly, I do want to throw this out there. This sixth one, why I brought up that it's so goofy is because then it gets fucking off the rails. It gets actually genuinely frightening.
Yeah,
because
it really does.
Yeah, because you get a little bit of this in the last volume, but we finally get into this. Trudy, the cool butch, hold on, wrong finger. The butch, her dad is like the head of a survivalist cult that lives out in the woods and violently, really, really violently, like enforces his ideas of the world on people. Like you see him like tie up two people who thought about leaving the cult in a flashback, and he guts them. Like really, really viscerally. He like tries to force his gay daughter to an arranged marriage so that she'll reproduce.
He's like holding her eyelids open so that she can watch the gutting of these people who try to escape the compound.
Yeah, so you get these two different types of horror where you get this like really silly sci horror where it's like very fun, very pulpy, and then you get this really intense like abusive cult shit, but it's written really well, to be clear. It is written incredibly well. But yeah, this man just runs this horrible survivalist cult which violently suppresses people and have finally tracked her down. And there's a whole bit where like he finds their house before sundown, breaks in, and then beats them both, ties them to a chair, and almost kills Gabby.
Oh my god, it was like I wasn't ready for how like intense they were gonna get.
They got intense really fast.
Like we're going hard now. Like it was kind of a silly romp, but like shit just got so fucking real in the 6th book.
And then there's a bit where like at the very end where he only doesn't kill his daughter's wife because the ghosts that live outside the property manifest outside, and the other cult guys are like, "Hey boss, check this out. What the fuck?" And Trudy's dad is like, "Oh shit." And instead of being freaked out about it, he's like, "This is proof of God, guys."
I know, he's gonna build a cult around it.
He's gonna build a cult around it. I saw some info about where this is going from a solicitation for a couple of months now, and I'm gonna say nothing, but it's gonna be some wild shit.
I'm ready. I'm very ready. I'm guessing it's a monthly right now.
It's a monthly, yeah.
For
just
five more issues.
At least, yeah. Just came back.
Very ready.
Very ready. Do we have anything else to say on that one before we jump into Doom Patrol?
Just that I love queer horror, and there is so much more to explore in the realm of queer horror.
Which, if you like queer horror, check out my shit. I might link that in the show notes.
We should put it in the link tree or something.
We should put it in the link. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Something.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, I write queer horror.
It's pinned on your Twitter, right?
It is pinned on my Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good shit. It's real fuck nasty freak shit. Which is all that I like to do. Oh, thank you. I realized I could have just handed that to you. I was so ready to just yeet.
You're gonna frisbee it across the room.
Let's fucking talk about Gerard Way and Nick Darrington's Doom Patrol.
Look at this beautiful hardcover that Possum bring us today.
It's
just
came
so
out.
big. It's a whole omnibusy.
It's a whole omnibusy collecting Doom Patrol brick by brick, which is the first 6 issues, Doom Patrol Nada, which is 7 through 12, and then Doom Patrol Way to the Worlds, which was a follow-up miniseries Gerard Way wrote. It's an incredibly beautiful book. Nick Darrington did the art. We will be flipping through this in a second. So I read through the first arc brick by brick, and I reread it because I have read this before. A couple things to say before we super get into it. I forgot just how delightfully fun and funny this book is. Like, this is one of my favorite comics of all time, and I definitely remembered that. But in rereading it, I was like, because I read this when it came out, single issues.
Look at all these weirdos.
This is genuinely one of the most fun superhero books I've ever read. One of the most fun comic books I've ever read in my fucking life. It is genuinely so much fun and so funny, like unbelievably, but also so profoundly heartfelt. Where to even start with this? Doom Patrol, for those who don't know, is basically like a bundle of Stixier, the X-Men.
Yeah, it's often compared to like DC's X-Men, but I think they're so different.
They're so different. They are so texturally different.
But they like both have a professor in a wheelchair, and it's a hodgepodge group of weirdos.
Yeah,
they're both like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they both of them definitely have a whole thing going there, and also that the professor in the wheelchair is a more sinister than he appears, depending on X-Men, which run you're talking about here. But Gerard Way took over the title in 2016. They handed Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, and they were like, "Hey, have this whole imprint if you want." So Gerard Way got to curate an imprint. He wrote Doom Patrol as the flagship title of that imprint, Young Animal, and then a bunch of other books. They did Cave Carson as a Cybernetic Eye, Mother Panic, Shade the Changing Woman, and then there was another one, and I'm definitely forgetting it. A couple other stray books here, but Doom Patrol was the best and the brightest of all of them. And oh god, where to even start with this one? Because I marked a whole bunch of pages.
It looks like you gave us a bunch of bookmarks there.
Oh, a bunch of places to quote. So right before I jump into that, I want to say, for those who are not familiar, Gerard Way loves Flex Mentallo and Danny the Street so much.
I also love them.
I also love it is candy for people who love Flex Mentallo
characters
and Danny the Street. For those who don't know, Danny the Street is a sentient street who is like a non-binary
they them
and non-binary they them sentient street that people can live on, and it can teleport anywhere in the world.
Is a queer safe space.
Is literally a queer safe space, like a conscious queer safe space.
Yeah, that people like live on.
Yeah. And so Danny has been a street. Danny became a world at the end of Morrison's Morrison's Doom Patrol. Became a cabana at one point, and then now is an ambulance.
Is it? What?
An ambulance and a brick.
In the show, I watched the show on HBO. Yeah, is a brick.
Yeah, and that comes from this.
Which is that some tongue-in-cheek shit or what?
I don't know. I don't know if it is or not, but Gerard Way does know some gay furry shit for sure.
Absolutely.
We will be talking about the main character's Shane Dawson moment when I read Volume 2. I did not come on my cat. I did not fuck my cat. We're jumping the gun. We haven't even gotten to lotion the cat yet. But anyway, yeah, Gerard Way loves Danny the Street. And then also Flex Mentallo, who, if you don't know who Flex Mentallo is the hero of the beach. He's this big, buff, burly guy who's like really hairy and has cheetah print little booty shorts. He's just like, you know those old-timey magazines where you could write in to be to get like buff?
Yeah, there's like ads in the back like, are you a wimp on the beach? Well, buy this tape and we'll teach you how to be a big strong man. And the drawing of a big strong man come to life is Flex Mentallo.
It's Flex Mentallo. Yeah. Man of muscle mystery. Every muscle he flexes, every single muscle he has a different superpower, and if he flexes that muscle, it activates the superpower. So it's done everything from like psionic beams to making people orgasm to changing the shape of reality to fusing bombs.
Excellent episode on the HBO where he like flexes a muscle too hard and everybody comes, including the entire street. Danny.
Yeah, the street comes too.
The street comes. I think there's like an earthquake about it.
Oh yeah, there's a whole earthquake about it that levels part of the town that Danny's connected to at that time. So yeah, Gerard Way loves Flex Mentallo and Danny the Street so dearly, and so do I. And we will be getting into that. But what I want to touch on here to start with is that there are 3 Doom Patrol runs worth of any note. And you got Grant Morrison, you got Rachel Pollack, and you got Gerard Way. And if the reason it is not a coincidence that the 3 people who have written Doom Patrol, any Doom Patrol worth talking about, are people who are either they thems or a trans woman. Like Rachel Pollack is a trans woman, and Morrison and Gerard Way are both like low key they thems. So I'm just throwing that out there. Trans people belong. Like Doom Patrol is trans.
I'm like I've made it my mission to read all 3 of these runs. Maybe I can like do that this year.
Oh my god.
I really want to.
That's so exciting. I cannot wait for you to read these. And so the different runs come at them from a little bit of different perspectives. Like Morrison's run tends to be very Dadaistic. It tends to be, very superhero deconstruction. Rachel Pollack tends to fall more into tarot, the Kabbalah, and a very specific like 90s, early 2000s trans lesbian political activism. Tends to be, she's so based. My girl. I love Rachel Pollack so much. Rachel Pollack is so fucking based.
Hell yes.
And Gerard Way's kind of approach coming into it is this, which we're gonna fucking like. Actually, no, hold on. We're about to pop into that. Gerard Way's Doom Patrol fundamentally is about reconnection and repair. It's about healing. Okay. It's like healing as celebration. It's about Doom Patrol as healing, Doom Patrol as celebration, as community and solidarity. It's queer, baby. It's like queer celebration. Like a lot of the queer celebration shit from the show is kind of pulling from this, where this tends to be the more like celebrational end point, where like one of the opening lines of this book, which is one I did mark, is where the character Casey Brinkley, oh god, I tore it a tiny bit. That's okay. She says, she's an ambulance driver, right? She's the woman who drives the ambulance. And she says, "My name is Casey Brink, and I only want to do good things. When I was a little girl, my mother told me, be a bright light in a black hole, just before she flew into the sun. So I stay bright. I stay white hot. I know this inside out. I'm new to the unit, but I've been doing this as long as I can remember, which I think is a very long time. I can't tell. I'm tired, but I'm not jaded. I've got a toothache, but I'm smiling. I'm liberating planets one angry sprite at a time. You see things on this job that make you want to put your brain through a car wash, but I'll still hold your hand. In the ambulance, I'm everything. In the ambulance, I'm home." And that's kind of the thesis, is like the bright light in the black hole. Gerard Way, when approached about writing this book, like there's a little bit in the afterword where I read where Gerard Way was like, yeah, I kind of had these two EMT characters and they were a lot more like cynical when I was writing this like six page like pitch to myself to try when I got the keys to the book, but that just wasn't working. And so the bright light in a black hole was really where what like the central thesis was going to be. Is like, I want to write a book that is a bright light in a black hole. It's about like, to use the parlance of Grant Morrison here from Doom Patrol, crawling from the wreckage, like, and repair in the face of that. And we will get into that in a second, but actually, no, we're going to get into that right now. So like a bunch of the relationships in this book are about repair. Like some new characters, Lucius, him and his Lucius, who's on this first page with Casey, works as an EMT with her. He like has this kind of strained relationship with his son because their mom left to join a cult. We will be jumping back to that later. But it's about the repair of their relationship. It's about the repair of Larry and Keeg, who is the negative spirit.
Right.
Like the repair of their relationship. Robot Man and Jane, like everyone to themselves, the whole team coming back. There's a bit where Jane says to Robot Man later, and we'll be returning to this, healing is a collaborative act, not a relationship of control.
Okay.
And so it is about like these being separated from the people you love or being alienated from the people you love, but finding ways to come back to each other. Like finding ways to reconnect and repair what splits you apart in the first place. God. And it's a collaborative act. Healing is a collaborative act, not a relationship of control, which is what we keep coming back to again and again in the series, is that the characters who want to control other people either figure out that they're wrong and like shift into that collaborative act, or they get fucked up because they're like they can't get out of this mindset of control.
This sounds so relatable to me.
It's incredibly relatable.
As someone who, I don't know, I feel like the expectations people have of me have shifted a lot as I have changed, and like I've had to grow and I've had to like reconnect with people in ways that are like healing in the face of it's very trauma informed in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's trauma informed
in a lot of ways. There's a bit here where Larry decides to reconnect, is put in front of a council of negative spirits. And they're like, we're going to execute you for flying in the face or breaking negative law or whatever. And Robot Man is like, fuck you. Did you ever ask what Larry wanted? And they're like, you know what? Good point, homie. Larry, what do you want? And Larry's like, I want to be reconnected with the negative spirit. And so they get reconnected. And so at one point, the negative council is talking to Larry in a collaborative voice. And it says, stand and be clothed in the vestments of the hero to inspire the beings of Earth who cannot comprehend your unrestrained condition. Something old, something new, a patchwork of fabrics, of feelings. To which Larry replies, and what of the people I once shared a form with? What of them? To which they say, they have long since dispersed into the universe, constructed anew, though you will always hold a fragment or two. To which he says, cool.
Cool.
And does his gay little glasses.
That's a really good panel.
That panel is like my Google Drive image. that panel has lived rent free in my head. Literally, like I have a coat like this.
No, this is tattoo material.
This is tattoo material. I think about this like on a constant basis. And one of the things that happens when he reconnects with the negative spirit is the negative spirit council is like, we've given you a gift. And that gift is because he falls unconscious when the negative spirit is projected out of his body his superpower is projecting the negative spirit out of his body, and the negative spirit can fight, but he falls unconscious. And so the council basically is like, every time you do that, you get to live a full life you never got to live before. You get to live like from birth to death and like a complete other life. But not in a horror movie way, which, that would scare the shit out of me.
That sounds really fucking scary.
That sounds a little bit too fucking scary for me. I wouldn't like that, but Larry likes it. And they're like, you get to experience all this life that you never got to live before. You get to live your life from other worlds, like every time you use this power, and you get to like experience those joys you never got to experience. And that is our gift to you.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's all about connection. It's really fucking good. There's another bit here where Casey Brink finds out that I guess this is a spoiler, but I will say it. She finds out that she has only been alive really for like 3 weeks because she's been a character in Dannyland. Danny made her.
Dannyland?
Oh, which is Danny the street. Danny becomes Dannyland / Danny the ambulance / Danny the brick.
Is a character in Dannyland that Danny created?
Yeah, so Danny couldn't create people before. And this was a note. Danny couldn't create people before, but right here,
Danny is mother?
Danny is mother. Yeah, there's this line cuz Casey's pretty pissed when she finds this out that she was created by Danny. She was a comic book character in comics that Danny created inside of themselves. And then Danny made Casey Brink real.
Whoa.
And pushed her out into the world so that she could reunite the Doom Patrol. And so she's pissed at Danny at this point.
Oh my god.
And Danny says, I never wanted to be a god. I just missed all the people. They used to come to me, smiling faces once sad, once rejected by the world. And I held them in my arms and gave them a place to belong. Free from judgment, free from pain. But they always found us, the outside. Always trying to get in, always trying to destroy. So I left the world and became my own. And again they found us, and again they destroyed me, and all those faces, and all those faces. I was reduced to a brick, and the only friend I had left carried me from the wreckage and took me with her. And then gets PTSD because on another world with Jane, Danny's in the form of a brick, and then this god uses Danny the brick to literally brain a god to death. And so poor Danny is just like super traumatized from being used to literally brain a god to death. And then by the time Danny reawakens,
Doom Patrol is so nuts.
Doom Patrol is nuts. And by the time like Danny awakens, Jane is gone. And so Danny is like, and while I ran, I felt, that was the last time I saw Jane. The stranger left us there in the horror, and by the time I came to my senses, Jane had already gone. I ran as far and fast as I could away from that place. And while I ran, I felt different, more powerful. A change had occurred in me, and I had decided right then and there that I would make people, better people, and someone to protect them, to make the outside world a better place for them to live, free from horror, free from tragedy. And that someone was you, Casey dear.
Oh my god.
Right, it's so sweet.
Wait. Do I start here with Doom Patrol?
You could start here.
I might.
You could start here. Like, there are references to stuff Pollock did and stuff Morrison did. You don't have to have read those first.
I have Morrison Book 1. I have Rachel Pollock Omnibus.
This might be the place to start. It's the shortest run. It's the shortest run, and
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it. I think this might actually be the best one. And I say this as a Morrison head and as somebody who loves and supports trans women dearly, but like I think Gerard Way actually did the best one.
I'm so excited.
So far.
I'm so hyped.
It's so fucking good. I'm trying not to spoil too many things. There's some crazy shit in here.
What was it like for you the first time you read it?
The first time I read it, trying to figure out how personal I want to get about this. The first time I read this, I was in kind of a bad spot in my life. Like, I was in my junior year of college. I was living with some questionable people, and we'll leave it at that. I had some questionable people in my life who would later go on to treat me really horribly. And brick by brick, that arc ended, God, around... That arc ended right after, I think, the school year ended, which is to say when things got really, really bad for a while. And it was something that I held on to really dearly at the time, and loved really dearly at the time. Like, I had a lot of fun with it, and I really, really loved it. These characters mean a lot to me, and this run means a lot to me in a very personal way. But reading it all at once, like getting to just read the whole volume like that, you know, years out from that, like... And look, maybe some of this was because I had also just gotten my estrogen shot like halfway through the reading, so I was definitely a little bit like on my...
Wait, like yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I definitely had my estrogen shot like after issue 3 started. I got my husband to do my estrogen shot. So I was a little emotional about it, but no, this run means a tremendous amount to me.
I can tell it means a lot to you. I want to read it because I want to know you better.
Sweet.
And I feel like a lot of these characters, like you even pick up their like mannerisms, you pick up their fashion.
Oh,
like,
yes.
This is core Possum reading.
It is core Possum reading. I mean, between like Flex Metallo is like core Possum shit. Casey Brink is core Possum shit. Fucking Jane, who I love that they changed her name because she initially in the Morrison run was named Crazy Jane.
Oh, that Jane.
Yeah, that's Jane.
Oh, okay.
And so she used to go by Crazy Jane because her whole thing is having DID, and right. Each of her personalities has a different a different superpower. They dropped the crazy, I think, if I recall correctly, in this run, which is nice.
Just Jane.
Just Jane. And yeah, and that's where this line, the healing is a collaborative act, not a relationship of control, comes from. Because late, the only other thing I'll spoil is like late in that first arc, the end point is you find out that Jane has created a cult, or one of Jane's alters has created a cult. Dr. H has created this cult. And Dr. H was crafted as a response to the trauma of watching your friend be used as a brick, being used to bludgeon a god to death. So she developed this altar in response, and this altar basically was like, I'm going to kill the rest of you and become one. So what she did is she has these mind control, Dr. H has these mind control powers, and she convinces a bunch of alienated people to come to her, people who are doctors and engineers and scientists and things, to create a bomb. And the idea is that if she drops this bomb on her followers, she doesn't tell her followers this. She tells her followers that dropping this bomb will make them all become the collective Jane. What Dr. H thinks is going to happen, or what Dr. H really means to happen, and what she didn't tell them, was that the bomb is going to put each of she brings 63 people to this cult because she's going to put each of Jane's personalities into them using the bomb and then kill them. But Robot Man gets into her brain and talks to Jane, who is hiding in the underground, which is her system name is the underground.
Yeah.
And Jane is like, so we figured out how to lie to this bitch. So we figured out how to lie to Dr. H. We convinced her that we were building this bomb, that she could build this bomb that would do this. What it will actually do is kill the dominant personality, which is her. So y'all can't actually stop that bomb. Let that bomb drop. But yeah, that line gets said in there because she's talking to she's talking to Robot Man. Why did I not save that page? It's right here. No, here we go. She wants to cure me. She plans on separating me from my other identities and sending them into other people, members of the cult she started, people she controls. To which Robot Man says, I'm sure this Dr. Harrison is a bad person, but isn't being cured a positive thing? To which she says, she plans on killing all 63 cult members once she's done transferring the identities, Cliff. I'll choose therapy over that. Healing is a collaborative act, not a relationship of control. and there is a treatment for my condition, but a cure has yet to be discovered. I will possibly deal with this my whole life. I've accepted that. We've accepted that. I'd love for you to do the same. To which he says, you've got it, Jane. And he just fucking accepts it. Like, and that's the thing I love about their relationship is like Jane is calling him out for shit and he's just like, yeah, you know what? Okay, you're right, homie. Like, they have this really sweet relationship. Like, that's really beautiful. Yeah. It means a lot to me. Like, and so, yeah. It's...
I'm so excited to read this now.
It's so good. And I think the last thing I'll say about it is just to read Casey's last words from this. Friends help you write the fiction you want to be by looking in your heart and seeing the truth inside. Lonely in a crowded room with the music pulsing, or above the clouds with the jet stream at your back. When the sun comes up and the sirens fade, you pick each other up and make each other new. You start again, and you don't know where you're heading, but together you know you'll get there fast. It's so sweet, and like we didn't even get into the art, but the art is just really good. There's another trans woman working on this book, actually, Tamara Bonvillain, who does colors.
Oh,
she's a trans woman. She colors a ton of stuff.
It looks so good.
It looks incredible. Like her colors on fucking Nick Darrington's art is just truly some of the most spectacular things. Hold on, I'm trying to find just like a really good, really colorful, actiony panel. Oh, I love Lucius and Sam so much. They're so cute. I love this book. Okay, it's fun weirdo shit. Like Nick Darrington's art strikes this perfect balance between cartoony but also really grounded.
Yeah,
it's like
Darrington is really, really good.
Darrington is incredibly talented. I will pop to something a touch bit later in the book, but like when things just get absolutely ape shit. Also, I am gonna spoil this. Casey fucking gay. She hella gay.
Me gay too.
You gay too?
Me gay too.
You am gay.
Me am gay.
You amstead gay.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. It's really silly. It's really funny.
This should be an animated series. Like
it should fucking be.
That'd be so cool.
It should be. And let me play Larry Trainer. God damn it. Let me play Larry goddamn Trainer.
Yeah,
actually, no, or Danny the Street.
If that ever happens, where I'm driving you to the audition.
Oh, you're so sweet to me. Gosh. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
How are we feeling?
I'm feeling good. We've talked quite a bit.
Great. Yeah, it's maybe our longest stream yet.
Wow, we've really
There was a lot to talk about today.
There was a ton to talk about today.
I'm really, really glad we talked about Doom Patrol. I'm really, really glad we talked about Dead Boys. You've very much sold me on both of those. What else did we talk about today? We talked about Fuck This Place. We talked about Immoral X-Men. We talked about Phantom Road. We talked about what's the other Rogue and Gambit. Well, I talked about X-Men in general. Mm-hmm. So that includes Rogue and Gambit. That includes Captain Britain. Mm-hmm. That included X-Force, and it included Immoral X-Men. Next week, I believe we're getting... Nightcrawlers 2, right? We're getting Nightcrawlers 2. Yeah, so it'll be 100 years later. And we will talk about it. And I think that's everything we talked about today. Yeah, we covered quite a lot of bases. So many bases. Okay, well, we will try and edit this down and get it out as a podcast. Hopefully tomorrow. And okay, I think that's goodbye till next week, everybody. Goodbye. All 0 of you. It's always wonderful to talk with all of you on the all of you listening as a podcast. Yes, if you end up reading anything we talk about, please let us know. You can send me a message on Twitter. I have my link tree. Mm-hmm. I really want to have like a back and forth with any of my audience members. So like, let us know if we should be reading anything, or if you like what we had to say about a book, or if you hate what we had to say about a book. We just like attention. Yeah. You can email me at perildoom3000@gmail.com. Yeah. Till next time, everybody.
Till next time. Mwah.
I love you.
Love you. Love you. Words are hard.